reveal your deck of cards to be the first one to clear out the dewdrops on your board in Mycelia.
Today we'll be teaching you how to play Mycelia, game designed by Daniel Greiner and published by Ravensburger.
And hello everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant here from Meeple University.
Alright, let's go to the classroom.
In Mycelia, players race against each other to move magical dewdrops from their forests to the Shrine of Life to earn the favour of the goddess of the forest. Players will build their own personal decks of mushroom helpers, which they'll use to earn leaves, which in turn can be spent on actions and further mushrooms, and will then try to best combine their actions to move dewdrops through the portal or remove them outright from the board. Players must be nimble to respond when more dewdrops enter play, and the first player to have a completely empty board will be the winner. To set up for the basic game, give each player a player board, which should be flipped to the side, which is identical for all players. You'll be able to recognise this Z-shaped patch of water on that side. Separate all of the Mycelia-backed cards into three types. The ones showing an icon in the top right are the player's starter cards. The ones showing a cost in the top right and no icon in the bottom right are the basic playing cards. And those with a cost in the top right and an icon in the bottom right are the extension cards. Set the extension cards aside when you're playing the basic game. From the starter cards, give each player a set of 6 cards showing the same icon in the top right corner. These should be shuffled face down into a personal draw deck. If you're playing with fewer than 4 players, any starter cards which aren't used should be returned to the box. Find these cardboard action cards and give each player a letter A and a letter B flipped face up. All leftovers are returned to the box. The C's, D's and E's are not used in the basic game. You can slot these tokens into these notches below your board. Shuffle and draw one of the 4 double-sided setup tiles. And each player now places 20 dewdrops onto their forest boards in exactly the configuration shown. Return all the setup cards to the box, you won't need them again. Place the shrine board in the centre of the table and rotate it so that none of the holes are visible and this crack line lines up. These white flashes on the rotating disc break the disc up into 3 sections which depend on your player count. You'll use only these holes in a 2-player game, these holes in a 3-player game, or these holes in a 4-player game. Place the die into the large hole at the end of your player counts area. Shuffle the 4 double-sided supply cards and then choose one at random, placing it beside the shrine. Shuffle up the deck of basic playing cards and place it near the shrine, dealing 5 cards face up into a common market. Keep common supplies of leaf tokens nearby. These serve as currency. These remaining components are used for the solo game and can be returned to the box. Choose a first player who takes the 3D mushroom and you're now ready to play. Mycelia is played in turns, starting from the first player and going clockwise around the table. You will begin every turn with 3 cards from your personal deck in your hand. During your turn, you'll be able to take several actions. You must play all 3 of your cards from your hand to your personal discard pile and may resolve the actions on those cards. You may play the action on each of your cardboard action cards at most once each per turn by paying the leaf cost shown in the bottom right corner, and you may spend leaves to purchase any number of mushroom cards from the common market, adding them to your deck to give you access to their actions on future turns. You may perform these actions in any combination and any order. The only requirement is that all 3 cards from your hand must finish your turn in your discard pile. You then end your turn by drawing back up to 3 cards in hand from your personal deck and refilling the common market to 5 cards. Play then passes to the next player clockwise. You'll continue taking turns in this way until one player has removed the last dewdrop from their forest board. You'll continue playing until all players have had the same number of turns, and if there's still only one player with an empty board, that player is the winner. If multiple players have empty boards, whoever has the most remaining leaves wins the game. So now let's have a look at each action in detail. First, we'll look at playing cards. When you play a card, choose any one card from your hand and then play it face up into your personal discard pile. Then optionally resolve the actions printed on the card. If a card has multiple actions separated by a slash, then you have the option. Here, in this case, you could resolve this action or this one, but not both. While if a card has multiple actions separated by and, then you may take either action or both, but if you take both, you must resolve from left to right. An action like this allows you to gain leaves. Simply take it from the general supply to your personal supply. You can spend leaves from your personal supply to pay for other actions. All of the other actions let you manipulate dewdrops on your forest board. This icon means to move a dewdrop, meaning you choose a dewdrop and move it to an orthogonally adjacent space. You cannot move diagonally. If you ever move a dewdrop into your portal, remove it from your forest board and place it on an empty space in the shrine which corresponds to your player count. This icon, the dewdrop showing the X, lets you remove a dewdrop directly from your board. Simply remove the dewdrop from anywhere on your board, again moving it to the shrine. Most of these actions come with a restriction. These three starter cards, for example, each allow you to move one dewdrop. However, that dewdrop must come from a specific coloured terrain, green, red or blue. So had I played this card, I could choose only one of these 5 dewdrops to move. This is the icon for a square with no colour restriction. So by playing this card, I could move a dewdrop from any colour and remove a dewdrop from blue. Be aware, there are 4 different colours of terrain on your board, but cards with colour restrictions are only available for 3 of those 4. There are no special cards for the brown soil terrain, so you will need cards with this unrestricted colour to manipulate those dewdrops. If an action icon shows multiple blue dewdrops, then there must be at least that many dewdrops on the space you choose. For example, this action requires you to choose a square which has 2 or more dewdrops present, and then you would move 1 dewdrop. If an icon has a mixture of blue and transparent dewdrops, then the transparent ones are optional for the action. In this case, you would have to choose a green square with at least 1 dewdrop, but you can remove anywhere between 1 and 3 dewdrops from that square. And if an icon shows a beetle in the lower right corner, then you must choose a square which has exactly as many dewdrops as shown on the icon. That means this particular movement action could be taken only on a square which currently has exactly 1 dewdrop. So to explore that further, for this action you would choose a square with at least 2 dewdrops and remove 1 dewdrop, and you could do that up to 3 times. Here you'd choose a square with exactly 2 dewdrops, remove one of them and move the other, and do it once. If a card lets you resolve an action multiple times, then you can choose to do that action on the same or different squares, as long as the condition is met before each action. Here, for example, I could use 2 of those 3 actions to remove dewdrops from this square, but once it comes to the third one, it no longer qualifies as a valid square. An icon like this grants effects based on adjacency, so here you would pick a single red square and optionally remove 1 dewdrop from each adjacent square. And finally, if an action shows this icon, then the depicted benefit is gained by all other players, not by the player who played the card. For this starter card, the active player would gain 2 leaves and all others would gain 1. Actions with this icon are non-optional. Even if I discarded this card without resolving my own action, all other players would still get this effect. The second type of action you can take is to purchase new cards from the market. You can do this any number of times on your turn as long as you can afford the cards. Pay the leaf cost showing in the top right corner of the card, take it from the market, and place it face down on the top of your deck. This means you will necessarily draw it into your hand for your next turn. The last type of action is to use one of your action cards, and these are the A and B cardboard cards that you are given at the start of the game. You can use each of these cards at most once per turn. Pay the leaf cost showing on the bottom right corner of the card, resolve the effect, and then flip the token over. The A card gives you the chance to refresh the common market. Discard all of the cards from the face-up market to a face-up discard pile, and then replace with 5 new cards, even if you discarded fewer than 5. You now have new options for any future purchases on your turn. For Action B, spend 3 leaves and move any 1 token 1 space. Once you're done taking actions and have no more cards in your hand, then your turn is over. Draw 3 new cards from the top of your personal deck to form a new hand, and if your deck runs out while you're doing this, shuffle your personal discard pile into a new deck and then continue drawing until you have 3. Reflip any action cards you used back to their face-up positions, and refill the common market to 5 cards, reshuffling the discard pile if necessary. During your turn, any dewdrops which are removed from your board are placed onto the shrine, up to the capacity of your play count. If you remove any beyond that capacity, simply return them to the box. At the end of the player turn in which the part of the shrine which is being used is completely filled, new dewdrops will be added to all players' boards. Spin the shrine 1 complete revolution, again lining up this depicted crack, and check the symbol rolled on the die. This will correspond to 1 or 2 spaces on the supply tile, and all players now take the necessary number of dewdrops and add 1 to each matching space. Now return all remaining dewdrops to the box, place the die back on its space on the shrine, and flip the supply tile to its opposite side. This will flip back and forward several times across the course of the game. The game end is triggered as soon as one player has cleared all dewdrops. Once this has happened for the first time, you won't turn the shrine again, even if you fill it up. Finish the current round until all players have had the same number of turns. If only one player has an empty board, that player is the winner. Otherwise, among all players with empty boards, whoever has the most remaining leaves is the winner. To play the advanced version of the game, simply shuffle all of the extension cards in with the basic market cards. These cards introduce a few new actions and effects. This action here allows you to search through your current discard pile and choose any one card within it to remove from the game entirely. This can be a good way to get some of your starter low-value cards out of your deck. There are many extension cards which have an immediate effect showing in the top left corner, and when you purchase that card from the market, resolve that effect immediately before placing it down on top of your deck. This is the only time you'll resolve it. When you later play that card from your hand, you'll only do the effects at the bottom. Some of the immediate effects are a bonus which is resolved by all other players and not by you. Some grant you the C, D, or E action cards, which you can place beneath your board with the others and gives you another action you can take each turn. Finally, this one lets you remove a lone dewdrop and replace it with a second portal. And that's how to play Mycelia.
Thanks so much for watching. Your like and comments are much appreciated. Subscribe to see what's coming, and hopefully you have a wonderful day. See you next time.